Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon to some. We're at the top of the hour, and my name is Karen Berger. I'd like to welcome you to the National News and Updates webinar. Today is February 28th, and we have a nice set of presentations set up for you today. So just to go over some of the controls of the webinar, in case you're unfamiliar, your phones and computers are automatically muted due to the large numbers. Any questions you may have about presentations, you'll be able to use the Q&A, and we ask you to reserve the chat for technical difficulties using Zoom. We will also be posting links in the chat and for the different things that are discussed during the webinar. And we want you to know that there is a copy of the presentation posted now on our website, and the recording will be posted sometime tomorrow. Closer look at your controls at the bottom. I see that some people have already taken advantage of enabling closed captioning and using the live transcript, which is a great feature. And then that's on the right side with that little blue green bubble. And then the next one is the Q&A, which I discussed again. We like to emphasize that questions about the presentations and specific questions for the presenters should be presented in the Q&A. We have a great team ready to answer those. Then the chat again is for technical issues and where we will post links and for your information. And finally, if you have some trouble with the audio, there is a little icon there next to your microphone where you can adjust your settings. And now I'll turn it over to Janice.
Thank you, Karen. It's the first webinar of the new year, so today we plan to showcase several new features and tools. We hope you'll like the collection that we've prepared. We'll start out with our newest tests that are in development and research field studies. Then we'll shift gears and give you an update on the new CASAS writing assessments, which have been pilot testing with agencies since last October. We'll talk about what's new with TOPSpro Enterprise and share a 5-minute video that illustrates a not yet released tool created for teachers to access their class and student data, which is called the Teacher Portal. Then we'll step outside our offices and share some personnel changes at CASAS, dive deeply into the 43rd Annual CASAS Summer Institute. Finally, we'll wrap up with a few calendar updates for you. So let's get started with a quick poll. Let's talk about something fun to get everybody thinking. Now, Linda's going to be talking about the new steps and goals to assessments, and there are 5 levels, not 4. Here's the picture of what they looked like in the past, levels A, B, C, and D. These should look familiar to most of you, but now we are adding level E, so we need to choose a new color for the booklets. Karen, can you get us ready for a poll, please?
Sure thing. So when I launched the poll, on the next slide, it shows a picture of what that poll is going to look like. So the first thing you want to do is answer the poll on your screen. And then after that, with a click, I can demonstrate where you would submit it at the bottom there. And then finally, after we have shared the results with you and we're ready and we close the poll, then after the results are shared, you'll want to close your own polling window so that, again, you can see the presentation that's up on the screen. So
right, that's the little red X on the top right corner of your box.
So without further ado, I will launch the poll.
And the question is, what color do you like best for the new Level E booklets for steps and goals? Some of the choices are yellow, peach, purple, and aquamarine. And I can see many of you are answering. We've got over 150 answers already. The existing colors are blue, green, brown, and red. So what's the 5th color? Maybe it's something lighter or something brighter. I think we've kind of slowed down, Karen. Maybe count to 3 and go ahead and share the results, please.
Sure. So in 3, 2, 1, ending the poll. And now I will share the results. So you should be able to see on your screen the percentages of voting.
Now that's a pretty close tie between purple and aquamarine. That's some good feedback for your design team, Linda. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, everyone, for participating.
And don't forget to close that little box there. Click on that X so your polling window goes away.
And I'm introducing next Linda Taylor, who's going to talk about the test development updates. Linda?
Thanks, Janice. Hi, everybody. So let's get right into it. Some of this information should be familiar to you by now, but we're just reviewing that for ABE, we have our goals series, and the reading goals, it has been approved through February of 2025. The math goals, the current one was extended another year through next March. And then the new Math Goals 2 series was submitted last fall. We may have something to tell you soon. We certainly hope so. We will tell you as soon as we have news from Octave about the approval. Then for ESL, currently our Life and Work Reading series with all the other related tests also was extended through February of 2024. And so also the listening. So you can keep using them still for another year. We did submit our ESL reading steps last October as well, and hope to hear back soon, both the reading and the listening. So any day now we may be hearing from Octave. Again, as soon as we hear, we'll let you know. And there will be a year of overlap where you could continue using the Life and Work Reading and Listening, or if you want to use next year as a transition year to start using steps, or you could launch right into steps if it's approved in time for you to make that transition. So a little bit about these new series, Math Goals 2. It has 5 levels, and we're going to, as you saw, have a new color for level E. The range of the levels in terms of difficulty is the same as A to D, but we've broken it up differently, and I'm going to share that with you in a minute. There are 2 forms per level, so this Math Goals 2 is a huge expansion from our current math goals, so I'm sure you're going to appreciate all the benefits of that. It's, as before, aligned to the CCR math standards. It has similar content and item types as the current math goals, but it's updated and fresh, all fresh, new items. The appraisals, that's the longer way to find out which form, pretest form a student should take in Math Goals 2, or you can use that one on your own, but not for pre and post testing. That's available as always on e-tests and paper, but what's new is that the locator is not only available in e-tests, but also now on paper. So now for the STEP series, both reading and listening, I wonder how many of you have now learned what STEP stands for, but in case you haven't, it's Student Test of English Progress and Success, and also inherently has that nice meaning of making progress. So we have also 5 levels. The test design for all of these new series is the same, with 5 levels and 2 forms per level. And also for these, we have the appraisals and the locators on both e-tests and paper. So here is the design, which is a little, I think, easier. It's more streamlined, simpler. For each of our CASAS test levels, there are 2 NRS levels. Level A has levels 1 and 2, and that's the only level that has NRS 1. But then after that, you can see there's overlap where level B has the bottom half is NRS 2, the top half is NRS 3. Level C, you get again NRS 3 and then 4. So if you pretest in one of these levels, let's say level B, if a student lands there, but if they score higher in the test, they would be requested and assigned in e-test to go to level 3 so that they would be able to make a gain in NRS 3. So I think you're going to see that it functions very well. It should avoid retesting more than before. That overlap continues until level E, where it's levels 5 and 6, and that's the only place you'll see NRS 6 at level E. So the STEP series is aligned to the ELP standards. There's much more focus on the content standards in this series, but we haven't forgotten the competencies. They're still there. All the items are in functional life skills context. But really what we're measuring more with more focus is the basic skills content standards. If you're familiar with reading goals, if you've been using CASAS for ABE, you'll see that the item types are similar now for ESL in the new STEP series. So now I want to share with you some of the blueprints that are, we shared them with you before, but we want to again share today these blueprints so that you'll be able to get a head start on preparing your students and teachers for these new series. So here's the reading steps test blueprint. And for level A, we have a graph at the top that shows you in color and visually how the different subcategories are organized and to what extent they occur in this level. And if you look below, the same categories are there. Level A is a little unique in that it has pictures, photos for vocabulary, high frequency vocabulary, and it also has some text items, and it covers numbers. And finally, at the end of the test, there are some questions about retelling key details in the NRS level 2 part of the test. But in the lower beginning part of the test, you'll see it's going to have some similarity to our forms 27 and 28 in this level A. And you can see here that the NRS levels are 1 and 2, as I mentioned before, and that relates to ELP standard level 1. And that's also, you can see exactly which ELP standard is referenced in each of the categories. So it's category 8 for 3 of those categories, and then category ELP standard 1 for the details. Then if we go to level B, we can see that the categories are a little different. We have vocabulary, but only 17% of the test is covering high frequency words. And then we have details, which is 2/3 of the test. And then main idea is introduced at level B. Moving on to level C, we can see that we have, again, vocabulary, main idea, and details, but we introduce inference as something with a higher level of cognitive complexity at level C, more academic demand. And so you can see here, the NRS is levels 3 and 4, and the ELP standards is 2 and 3. And here's how it breaks out in the chart. At level D, we have more inference. Otherwise, it's similar, but we have the author's purpose and point of view, additional aspects of main idea. And at level E, we have one more category that is identify supporting evidence, which is ELP standard 6. So you can see that at level E, there's more inference and there's more of the point of view and supporting evidence, and less of main idea, which tends to be more of a DOK, well, DOK 2, but still not quite as demanding. So that's the reading. And now the listening at level A has 3 item types. Dialogue, which is what we used to call next line. So that's where students will hear a conversation, and then the last line of the conversation is left for them to determine. As before, the listening is all oral, and there's no writing, there's no reading at all for the student. It's all listening. And so then quite a bit of level A, as you saw in reading, is vocabulary, almost half, and then some details, questions. When we get to level B, we have the same item types. By the way, all the items are repeated at these levels. We have the dialogue, details, and main idea. At level C, something new comes in. When you get to main idea, you'll see that summarize is included as part of main idea. And this is something that's quite featured in the ELP standards. And so since we are aligned to those ELP standards, we've included that in the test. So this is something you want to make sure that you train your students to understand what summarizing is, and even that vocabulary word summarize is important for them to learn. So moving on to level D, we can see that summary is its own category here. There's 15% of the test is that. Main idea is also a fifth of the test, and then the other categories. And at level E, similarly, there's even more summary and quite a bit of main idea. So, but still, there's a bit of the conversation. That 41% is a significant amount, where that's an important part of listening, and that goes throughout the test series. So I hope this has helped you to get a sense of the content of the test. I want to now show you a sample test item. We are preparing these to share with you very shortly. For now, I'll just share one with you from the listening steps test. And this should be familiar if you are using life and work listening, but we have all new content. This would, of course, be only, they wouldn't be reading this, they would be hearing it. It would be all audio. And so now we're talking about getting technical support for your internet going down. So you can see this is something that we all face, and we try to make the content relevant now to our students' lives in this day and age. So that's all I want to share with you for today. We look forward to sharing with you the website pages for listening and reading steps. They'll be up fairly soon, and we'll let you know when they are available. So now I'm going to turn it over to Karen. She's going to share about research with you.
Thanks, Linda. Wow, some great stuff you have there. So much work goes into that, and we have sure come a long way since we started field testing those new series. So this is very exciting. So many of you know, on the next slide, field testing is not as complicated as this looks, but it is a critical phase of developing new tests. And we have many of you who have participated. Thank you so much. We just appreciate it so much. When we started field testing about 3 years ago, the 3 new series, it looked like an impossible task. We didn't know how we would get it done. But once again, you folks pulled together. You came up with ideas to make field testing work at your program. You looked at the challenge of field testing during the pandemic as an opportunity for your students to be included in a national study, research that would help shape and validate the new series. And you came up with so many creative solutions to make it happen. So we can't thank you enough. Of course, we're always moving forward with more field testing. So what we have currently going on now is the item testing, and this is for our new goals series in reading. So reading goals 2 is around the corner. The item testing is wrapping up with these low-level items. It's for ABE learners who have that scale score of just 2 or 3 or below. Some of your students may be too low to test in reading, and they would be eligible for this study as well. We make these available in e-tests and pencil paper, and we can help you identify students at your program if you think you might have students who are eligible. A few more details about it. One thing that's really nice is there's no locator. The students can take 1 to 4 tests, and the timing is 30 to 45 minutes. Students get a $20 gift card for each test they take, and they can take up to 4 tests. Also, your agency gets complimentary web test units. So we're hoping that if you have eligible students, you'll be able to join us for that. And all that item testing will go into the next and soon to be coming final form studies for reading goals 2. So that's obviously in development. We can't develop those final forms, which are actually pre and post tests, but we call them final forms until they're approved. So we'll develop them as soon as we get those items done, and it will be for all levels of all learners in ABE and ASE. There will be gift cards, web test units, and there'll be different ways to deliver it through e-test and pencil paper. So we will notify you when with global email when we get ready to launch those studies. And if you want to contact us, You can reach us at fieldtesting@casas.org if you have any questions, and Elizabeth Scheib or I will answer you as quickly as we are able. Thanks so much, and I'll turn it over to Janice.
Thank you, Karen. Let me introduce the next segment. The CASAS writing assessments, essay and language tests have been in pilot test for over 4 months. Over 200 essays have been administered to students. I'm going to share some of the feedback from agencies who are helping students improve their writing skills and share some of the feedback from their students. But first, let's start with a 1-minute video that gives you a quick overview of the CASAS essay test. Karen, can you cue that for us, please? Isn't that great? The video talked about why writing is important. And the pilot sites began by looking at 2 groups of students, those who were preparing for high school equivalency tests and those who were moving into secondary education or employment and needed to hone their writing skills. One of the biggest challenges with teaching writing is that it's very time consuming to score. But what if there was a way to automate that? Let's take a look. In the next 5 minutes, I'm going to introduce what I call the 4 steps to improving writing skills. And it consists of a concept of preparing, assessing, instructing, and repeating. And teaching writing skills has those 4 components. It's actually very similar to the cyclical nature of writing, which is when you're thinking and then composing and then editing and then rereading. So we're going to take a look at these 4 different areas, the ways that students can be prepared and teachers can be better prepared. The 2 CASAS writing assessments, essay and language, which generate quick statistics without bias on the part of the person scoring it. We're going to look at instructional materials such as curriculum that might work better for adult education students. And then finally, as we look back, have my students written better essay tests now that they've had this cycle of instruction? Has their grasp of English mechanics and grammar and composition improved? The CASAS writing assessments personal score reports answer those questions quickly and easily, and we'll look at those as well. So step 1 is preparation. Preparing proctors and teachers requires a little bit of reading because the essay test is not just a simple multiple choice test. The test administration's document includes a scoring rubric, screenshots, and sample reports. This is required reading. Also, the advisory notes are helpful for proctors and teachers. You should be familiar with common mistakes that your students make when creating an online essay with a word processor. Review these guidelines and help your students do well on the test. We'll also be sharing other ideas at Summer Institute in June. Preparing students, well, many of you are familiar with the CASAS e-test sampler online tool. Well, now we've added essay. It's free. It gives students a place to play without being scored. We found that this reduces testing anxiety and is very helpful for students. Teachers, you can demonstrate in advance what the essay test word processor will look like to your students. You can use it in your classrooms. Here's what it looks like. Up in the top right corner of the essay sampler, there's a timer. It's preset to 10 minutes and it counts down. The student ID and name are blank because it's generic at this point. The sample prompt about healthy eating habits is displayed at the top, and students go into the lower section and type in their essay using the word processor. Now you'll notice that the spell checker has flagged the last word, ingredients, with a red underline. That's so that the student can see that and correct it. When the student's done, they click on the blue arrow in the lower right corner, and that's it. And that's the e-test sampler. Another preparation step to consider actually came from the student survey that we administered. And 63% of those students who already took an essay test thought that having better keyboarding skills would have helped with their essay test. And actually, this makes a lot of sense. If you're preparing and composing and your thoughts, the last thing you want is to be slowed down by your typing skills. So one other suggestion for preparation that came out of our pilot sites is to offer a lab or workshop. Use a popular typing software package, have the students get a baseline score, and then set a goal of increasing maybe 10 to 15 words per minute. Plus, having a typing certificate in their portfolios is great for students seeking jobs. The second step is to assess. Essay looks at writing as it flows creatively, and language looks at the mechanics. These two are complementary tests. The essay test allows students to write about a contemporary topic by answering a prompt in a secure word processor for 60 minutes. The test is automatically scored, and the results are shared immediately. The language test is 20 minutes, 20 multiple choice questions in a sentence completion format. It is also scored immediately. Now, I showed you what the essay test looked like, so let's look at a sample question from the language test. The chef cooks the meals at the restaurant. Language is looking at nouns, verbs, phrases, and punctuation. This question is aligned to the verb category in the personal score report. Here we're looking inside of the e-test configuration screen. Proctors and e-test coordinators, this should look familiar to you. These are the testing sessions, and you see 3 essay prompts you can choose from, Form 900W, 901, and 902. You start the test, your students log into the testing stations and start to write. Essay runs under e-tests, and e-test is a secure environment for testing, so the students can't copy material from another website or other source, and they can't exit while they're in the middle of the test. When they're done, the personal score report is displayed, and then you can start the language assessment and get that report as well. Let's take a look at those 2 reports. First off, how long do you think it takes to score this test? Literally under 5 seconds. That's just such a huge improvement. I can remember the frustration of waiting days to receive my graded essays back. And it's not scored just pass fail. They're actually given a score between 1 and 4. And then at the bottom of this report is a specific area for improvement. That's on the next slide. This is what we call the prescription. Each score has areas for improvement, such as the main idea, the organization, the word choice, and the grammar and mechanics. Let's look at the personal score report for language. It has 4 different content areas, and then you can look to the right and see the percentages. You can quickly see which areas the student needs the most work. In summary, by using these 2 reports, you have a comprehensive roadmap on what areas your student needs to concentrate on to improve their writing score. Next, we'll take a look at the curriculum for the instruction step. These tests are designed for students in these 2 groups, and I think everyone in this webinar has students in these populations of ABE level 3 and above, or ESL high, intermediate, and advanced. I've found, and I think it's pretty general to say, that there is more than one way to write an essay. The legacy method may have used an outline. Gen Z likes to dive in right away and start typing. Teachers, this is something to think about with your students. Sharing another tidbit from the pilot survey responses, the students found that they had plenty of time in 60 minutes to complete their essay, and the pilot also said that the prompts that the students were given felt like something that they could comfortably address. Also, on the topic of instruction, please consider using the CASAS Quick Search online database. You can search on keywords like inference or conclusion. I would like to say hats off to Andrew Kyler from Southbury Adult School, who shared a PowerPoint with us called Hook, Line, and Sinker, and it's from a newly created one-day writing workshop that he has created as a result of using the essay tests at his agency. It helps students to improve their introductory paragraph. We've posted it for you on CASAS.org along with today's PowerPoint so that you can take a look at that if you're curious. Now, if you're currently teaching a writing workshop or have another favorite curriculum, we invite you to let us know what that is. So just send an email to training@casas.org, and we would love to hear from you. So by now, students have improved their writing skills and maybe their keyboarding skills as well. We reassess and see their progress. Hopefully this has given you some ideas about ways to include the CASAS writing assessments in your agency's programs. If you'd like to learn more, we suggest you download the documents, schedule a team meeting, and then reach out to technical support. We're going to be planning a few more in-depth webinars about the writing assessments in March and April. If you're interested, please let us know. Again, training@casas.org, and we'll get you connected. Let's shift gears a little bit. And keeping with our theme of what's new, next we're going to look at TOPSpro Enterprise, which we frequently abbreviate as TE. We've prepared a 5-minute overview video to share with you a preview of a new user interface called the CASAS Teacher Portal. It's still under development, but we're so excited about this, we wanted to share it with you today. If you have questions, please go ahead and you can put them into the Q&A and we'll try to address them. Karen? This is a sneak preview of the CASAS Teacher Portal. It's an easy-to-use web-based tool for teachers, transition specialists, and counselors. It gives teachers a quick view of their classes and students using an intuitive, colorful user interface. It communicates seamlessly with your agency data in TOPSpro Enterprise. I especially think you're going to like the new report generator. It's still under development, but let's log in and take a look. I'm logged in here to the Rolling Hills Adult School as a teacher, and these are the 3 courses that I'm assigned to teach. This display called My Classes shows the class IDs, the names, start and end date, and the enrollment counts. If I want to see more information, I simply click on the name of my class. This display shows the students who are enrolled, their status, their total hours, and starting and end date, also hours since their last test. If I want to see more information on an individual student or make changes, I can tap and click on their name. This is the dashboard view for student demographics and includes information like total hours of instruction, hours since last test, various assessments that the student has completed, including the calculated gain. I can toggle here between the dashboard and the details report if I need to make changes to things such as the student contact information, her goals and interests, her educational background. Up at the top, there are 2 different icons. If I click on the pencil, it takes me into edit mode, where I can change statistics that are saved in TOPSpro Enterprise with simply the click at the bottom of the Save button. Let's look at some of the other views from the dashboard, such as educational progress. This is similar to the demographics field that I can make changes by tapping on the button at the top. The assessments view is very handy. This shows all the assessments that the student has taken so far. I can sort by things like date, form number, modality, and I can view the reports instantly by simply clicking on the buttons. If I click on competencies, it brings up the student performance by test item and competency report. It shows all this information. It's easy to use and it's easier to look at because of the colors. Now up at the top, there are 3 different buttons. One allows you to view this report as a PDF and it pops up in your screen there. You can also save it and print it. Likewise, the content standard report is easy to look at. Let's look at some of the other reports by starting with one of my larger classes, HSE All Subjects. That has 49 students enrolled. The list of class reports is organized in a similar way to the way the TOPSpro Enterprise application is set up. Enrollment and attendance, CASAS e-tests, class performance, and test results. Let's look at a few of these reports. If I click on Next Assigned Test, it will bring up the report immediately. Now, here's one of the powerful differences between the TOPSpro Enterprise application. Here are several of the choices that are normally found in the navigation bar under General Settings, but we can simply tap on a button and it shows the test history. It redraws the screen immediately. Test Score Overview Report works the same way. You can show all tests and it expands the view. Same three choices are up at the top to view, print, and save. The Student Test Summary Report has a different choice up at the top, which is to include the phone and email address. Simply by tapping, the report is changed. Now, we still have a few areas to complete in this application. We're still completing the attendance modules, but we wanted to share this with you today because we're excited. The sneak preview, we hope that the new user interface will help improve productivity for agencies. Then teachers who may have been reluctant to use the TOPSpro Enterprise client might find this version easy to use. We look forward to sharing updates with you in the near future. Thank you for choosing CASAS Assessments. So that's the teacher portal. Are you interested in learning more about it? Maybe take it for a test drive? We invite all interested parties to contact us to join the pilot. To do that, please email techsupport@casas.org. Let us know your best contact information and maybe include in the email what's your role. Are you a teacher or perhaps a counselor or a data specialist? And we'll reach out to you when the pilot starts, hopefully in March. Moving ahead, there are new releases of TOPSpro Enterprise, or TE, several times a year. We had a recent one on January the 13th. If you read the release notes, do you ever wish that they had a little bit more explanation? Well, this document is for you. It's called the Annotated Release Notes, and it contains all the recent changes and additions, plus screenshots, expanded commentary, and examples. As a suggestion, I challenge data managers to follow this link, download a copy of this document, and see if you can go step by step through the new features. That way you'll know more about what the new reports are doing and some of the new options in the data management fields. Now, at last month's TE Network meeting, we reviewed several items from this document. And speaking of which, we have one coming up in just 2 days. The TE Network meeting is hosted by Jay Wright, and it has expert TOPSpro Enterprise users. We take a deeper dive into the product. It's great information for your data managers. We typically host between 80 and 120 attendees at this webinar. There's the link to register. I also find the previous Zoom recordings and handouts helpful, especially if you have a new data manager that's coming on board and needs to quickly catch up on things. Now, many of you might feel that this webinar has been a bit challenging or unfamiliar information to you. This webinar here, Overview of TOPSpro Enterprise, is for you. It's a training, it's great for beginners, it's free, it's 90-minute sessions. Maybe you need a refresher, or maybe you're wondering about the difference between TE Basic and TE Enhanced, or how it might benefit your agency. Please register and join us. Here are the dates, and registration is capped at 50 attendees per session. Now, handing the reins over to Laura Fetter.
Thanks, Janice. Great work on that. So many exciting new things happening at CASAS, not just what's new, but who's new. Many of you may have heard that our illustrious leader, Pat Rickard, will be stepping away from her duties as president, but will continue to serve in an advisory role. Filling the position of CASAS president is Jane Igez. Many of you, if not all of you, know Jane and how lucky CASAS is to have her stepping into this leadership role. Jane has been a leader with CASAS for over 20 years and feels privileged to work with talented and committed adult educators across the country. She's excited to see how CASAS can grow to meet the needs of adult learners who want to improve their lives and the lives of their families and communities, which includes improving their employability skills. Jane loves to listen to a cappella choirs as well as drum and bugle corps performances, just not at the same time. Congratulations, Jane. My name is Laura Fetter, formerly Chartier, and I feel very lucky and privileged to be joining the CASAS team. I've been an adult educator for over 20 years and have served on the California Program Evaluation Team with CASAS since 2013. I oversaw the WIA and then WIOA Title II grant for a large urban school district in Los Angeles, where we nicknamed our data managers WIOans, and our motto was outscan, outanalyze, outperform. I know there's a couple of WIOans on our webinar today, and they can tell you we're just a little bit competitive in California. Also joining CASAS is our new National Program Specialist, Astrid Robitaille. Astrid hails from the great state of Connecticut and has been working in adult education for 20 years. She's been working as a CASAS trainer for 10 years and specializes in both implementation and NEDP training. Astrid is a great CASAS cheerleader and looks forward to supporting you. She is also an internationally certified hand knitter. Welcome, Astrid. Finally, we just want to let you know CASAS will be at COABE. We have 11 informative sessions and a booth. I will be there, so I'm hoping you'll come by and introduce yourself and share some of your best practices on how you're removing barriers and changing lives. So with that, I'll turn it over to Christine Weems.
Welcome, Laura Fetter. Welcome, Astrid, and congratulations, Jane. Such wonderful progress here at CASAS. We would like to share a quick poll as I introduce Christine Maines and the next topic, which is the CASAS Summer Institute. So we're asking a little bit about what's your plans for attending. Are you planning to attend virtually or in person? Let us know. Karen, do you have that poll? Can you launch it for us, please? I can't believe it's only 4 months away. Goodness. There it is. So please take a moment and identify if you're not sure or if you're planning it, or maybe you've already registered. We have a number of registrations already in place. Christine's going to share a lot of information. It's such a nice hotel. Were you there in 2019? I was. It was great. Very close to Disneyland. The technical labs are taught upstairs, and the ballroom's on the main level. Okay, Karen, do you think why don't we go ahead and share the results, please?
Hey,
Thank you.
so there's your
Well,
results.
looks like we've got kind of a mix here. Hopefully the presentation that Christine's prepared will help some of the unsure people decide. Thanks. Handing it over to you, Christine.
Just a reminder, if you left that poll box up in your window, you want to go ahead and close it using that little red X at the top so you can see the screen.
Thanks, everybody. We are so excited about our Summer Institute coming up. We'll be in Orange County at the Hyatt Regency. This 2023 Summer Institute will be a hybrid conference, so we'll be offering in-person and virtual sessions. You can join us for the in-person event at the Hyatt Regency in Orange County. We'll be having training sessions and workshops, computer labs, as always, with our technology and panels. We'll share more about the schedule and detail in just a few minutes. I'll be talking about who should attend and why we want you to join us. And of course, at the end, we'll also address how you can get registered. Last year in San Diego was one of our most highly attended National Summer Institutes. And on this slide, we have a video that we'd like to share with you that are the highlights from 2020. We won't be watching it now, but I'm inserting that link in the chat so you can save the chat and see that another time. It's a really fun 1-minute video, and we look forward to having you join us in 2023 to join in the kind of fun that you'll see in those highlights. So on the next slide, one of my favorite quotes from a Cincinnati Reds fan, consider your own success as you define it. Sparky Anderson, if you know who he was a great coach from Cincinnati Reds. And he said, success isn't something that just happens. Success is learned. Success is practiced. And then it's shared. So think about your own success right now, how you define it. We all define success differently. Which word do you connect to in this quote? Learned, practiced, shared, or maybe something else? We believe all three have contributed to our Summer Institute growth and our success over the past 4 decades, 43 years of CASAS history. And we're excited to share some of that information about our attendance at previous National Summer Institute. As you can see, CASAS' very first Summer Institute began in 1980 with 50, that's 50 participants at UC Irvine. The word quickly spread about our CASAS competency-based assessments and intentionally designed with those adult learners in mind. And as you can see from this bar graph, the growth from 1980 to last year with 1,245 participants has been significant and equal to the growth from California only to a presence in 47 states, as well as Guam and Singapore. So why should you attend CASAS National Summer Institute? CASAS is committed to creating a professional learning community where innovation and collaboration go hand in hand, right? So at Summer Institute, when we gather together to focus on discussions and brainstorming and analyzing, we all find success. We grow better together, and we can collaborate when that gives us an opportunity to update our skills and knowledge. We have a great opportunity to learn from each other. So ultimately, we want to help each other so that we can serve our students and clients so they get what they need and they get the gains that they need and achieve their ultimate goals. So with that innovation and commitment, consistency and collaboration, always at the forefront, of course, with CASAS. At SI 2023, we'll gather with colleagues and we'll discuss and brainstorm and analyze and share promising practices. Now, these are just a few of the ways that we can collaborate with colleagues this summer. So SI 2023 is all about growing our knowledge and skills. So the second reason is to update your knowledge and your skills. Getting the latest updates on our new test series that we heard about earlier, providing input on what might be being developed or need to be developed in some panels and workshops, and practicing our latest technology in hands-on tech labs, getting certified or recertified for e-tests or paper testing, digging into the features of TE or TOPSpro Enterprise, and of course, learning about how other programs can benefit your students or clients in school to school or their school to work transitions. And the third reason, and this is the most exciting because it's fun, we just have a blast. We have only to read a news feed or listen to a podcast or even chat with complete strangers in the line. I was picking up my dry cleaning the other day. We're all craving now more than ever connection. And with virtual work and learning becoming a way of life, of course, the third reason to come to CASAS Summer Institute in 2023 is to have a blast. Let's have fun with people who share common interests. fun with other families, hanging out by the pool, and just fun with people who are focused on self-care and exploring maybe a new restaurant. We've thoughtfully organized these events, and yes, the food is fantastic. So the facility is world-class, and we hope that you join us at National Summer Institute. So who should attend? Well, SI has a wide variety of sessions for administrators, teachers, support staff, proctors and test administrators, workforce development professionals, board members, of course, business and industry attend our Summer Institute, as well as state level personnel. So when is National Summer Institute? The National Summer Institute begins on Monday, June 12th with virtual sessions. Those virtual sessions will be technology trainings only. There are no in-person offerings on Monday, June 12th. Now, Tuesday through Thursday, June 13th to the 15th, we'll hold both in-person and virtual sessions. Of course, there will be some hybrid sessions that we're broadcasting from our on-location live that will also have virtual components. We absolutely love our facility, the Hyatt Regency Orange County. Just think about getting those plane tickets set early. The first event will be, of course, on Monday with our virtual sessions. And I posted a link in the chat about where you can learn more. So go ahead and be sure to book your hotel room early at that Hyatt Regency. We've included a booking link for you in the PowerPoint as well. And I'm just going to copy and post that in the link chat as well for you so you can learn more about the Hyatt. Of course, we've provided some information about the hotel rates and parking per day as well. Of course, the general schedule for Monday shows our technology trainings only, no in-person offerings on Monday, just as a reminder, and registration will be open 12 to 6. And this is as our Tuesday schedule for June 13th, where we have both concurrent training sessions for in-person as well as virtual sessions. You'll see here we've got group fitness in the morning, breakfast, registration sessions, a hosted lunch that is wonderful every year, and the sessions in the afternoon, ending our day with some vinyasa yoga for those of you who might be interested. Wednesday and Thursday have similar sessions where we have group fitness, breakfast, and our keynotes on Wednesday. Our sessions, of course, continue throughout the day on both Wednesday and Thursday. So what have some people said about Summer Institute? This is online as well, so hopefully you'll be able to check out some other quotes from folks. Most of all, we hear that meeting other professionals from different areas of the United States and talking to them about their promising practices, some of the struggles, some of the challenges, and how they've overcome them. It's just inspiring to hear from other folks. There's a lot of information and resources, and of course, we've got people who have provided some very thoughtful and kind feedback about the presenters and the energy that we bring to the Summer Institute. So we hope that you join us. Registration options are as follows. In person, 680. Those virtual sessions will be 500. And our in-person technology labs are $80 each for each hands-on session. So how can you get registered? Well, registration is open now. So we encourage you to get registered and choose your tech labs quickly because we know how quickly those fill up. I'm posting in the chat the registration information and a link, and we hope that you join us then. Thanks, Janice.
Thank you, Christine. To close off this segment, let's watch a quick video about Summer Institute.
What I like about the Summer Institute is that I am able to collaborate and network with other agencies. The variety of workshops that we have here is unparalleled. It is a fascinating place to be every summer because we are able to connect with other adult educators and connect with people that are as passionate about adult education as I am.
There it is. All right. Well, we're entering the final segment of the webinar. Let's take a look at a few upcoming more events for your calendar. Office hours is offered each month. It's hosted by the CASAS trainers and technical staff. We don't have an agenda. We take questions from you. For example, maybe you need a review on how to create class enrollments or how to find a report in eTests or TOPSpro Enterprise. Register for office hours and get answers to your questions. A new year brings a new CASAS catalog. It was just posted. It contains product details and pricing. There's an easy-to-use page-turning electronic format. We're saving trees and not printing it this year. And there's a link to go to look at the catalog. We're looking forward to a 4-day weekend for President's Day holiday. We hope you enjoy your time off as well. CASAS is closed Friday through Monday, February 17th through the 20th. We are so glad that you joined us today. The next CASAS National News and Updates webinar will be on Wednesday, April 19th. And there's the link to register. Today's PowerPoint is posted there already, along with some of the other documents such as Linda's blueprints and the hook, line, and sinker presentation. Also a recording of the teacher portal video. They're all posted there now. Please register, take a look, and we look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, if you need to have any questions answered, these are our email addresses, or you can always call us at 800-255-1036. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.